INM essentially finding that bottom that we were looking for almost precisely. Actually, we mentioned the knot 786 at 191 a couple days ago. Let's go ahead and validate what can happen for the coming sessions, though. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by once again. This is ARCa coming at you with an INM technicals, raw price action, and statistical threat of analysis on this fine Thursday evening. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community in Discord called ARCab. With that said, let's dive right into the charts. Okay, so we're looking at INM on the daily chart here, and yeah, this was we were here on this candle when we were talking last, and this was literally about 2 days ago, right? So we did mention the potential of actually the likelihood, a high likelihood of coming back down to test our newly converted resistance into support, right? So we actually did also mention that a touchdown back to the knot 786 at 191 was good before upside continuation, right? So an important thing to notice here, okay? The daily chart is a little small. It's still okay here. This is about around the minimum time frame where I would consider candle analysis, but printing a hammer like this after a downtrend like the one that we just faced from the last daily iteration, this does present a potential upside, okay? But we do need to consider that this is a lot of bearish action and could potentially shock the price action momentarily. Okay, so we're going to need to validate whether we're going to continue to the upside or to the downside. Okay, so that's what we're going to do in this video. So let's go ahead and move on to the next chart, and we're going to touch on the statistical side of the analysis here. Okay, so the statistical side actually involves volatility, which is this right here, represented by this indicator BBWP, and momentum as a pair. Okay, so usually we pair momentum because volatility is entirely direction neutral. And I have backtested this stochastic momentum indicator, which is proprietary to TradingView software. I backtested it through several tickers, and I'm getting about a 75 to 91% in accuracy by guessing the direction of the asset itself. So it's considerable. Okay, so in this case, we can see that momentum is still pitched to the upside, but please do mind that we're looking at a 5-day chart here, and the candle that we're currently on right now is going to close in about 4 days and 18 hours. So this can take an eternity for us to look at the next potential kink or move to the upside or downside regarding this right over here. Okay, but regarding the back test, okay, so any time that we have expanded into the critical volatility zone, which could be considered to be anywhere within the 90 percentile of expansion, and started a contraction phase to the downside, I have taken note of that iteration's duration, the upside thrust, and also the amount of times that volatility versus momentum got the upside correct versus incorrect. Okay, so let's go over those metrics, as these are just statistics. Please remember, okay, you guys, this is just statistics, and they're not certainties. Okay, we have to just take them to, essentially evaluate our position and see the upside potential. Okay, so what we are looking at here is a total of 6 iterations throughout the entire trading history of INM on the 5-day chart in particular. Okay, so out of those 6 iterations, volatility versus momentum have guessed the upside correctly 4 out of those times. Okay, so that gives us an averaged upside accuracy of 66.67% with an averaged upside thrust of 86.347% with an averaged duration of about 25.25 days. Okay, so now in applying this 86.347% move to the upside, which by the way, the signal has already fired and is in play, but remember it's a 5-day chart, so this is likely going to be a choppy price action, like up and down until it eventually meets that criteria within the 25-day period. Okay, so first of all, before we apply that upside metric, we should note when the signal fired. Okay, so essentially upon the upside pivot, which could be December 30th, it's only been about 10 days since that firing of the signal, 10 to 12 days maybe. So we must consider the potential of upside within the next 15 days. Okay, so let's go ahead and validate now. we're gonna look at the RSI. Okay, so let me just go ahead and open up a single pane here so that we can see some new drives of bearish divergence that I actually caught here. Okay, and in particular, some of these drives are phantom drives of hidden bearish divergence, but most of them are hidden bearish divergence. Okay, so we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total drives have recently stacked up, and they have been realizing towards the downside, which actually helped in realizing the not 786 touch that we were implying about a couple days ago. Actually, you can see you can this is the I can't play it back right now because my son is asleep right outside, but this is when I'm saying that the not 786 at 191 before a continuation to the upside. Okay, so that's particular to this chart right here in the not 786 located right there. So I don't think it touched right on it, but let's just see. The values of the candle are right over here. You want to look at the low. Okay, so 191. Damn. Okay. All right, so it was dead on. Okay, so yes, so the daily time frame with the divergences. But first of all, if you are a new viewer, a divergence is the opposition of price action versus momentum, and in this case, momentum represented by this indicator RSI, Relative Strength Index. Okay, so we are looking at a continuation to the downside, but please notice that the 14-day simple moving average represented by this pink line is still suggesting upside, which means that we can essentially revert back to it and use it as a form of support before a continuation to the upside. Okay, so that is absolutely in the on in the table. So let's go ahead and now just make sure that we can see this diagram here, as these 4 zones are located right here on the RSI and the live chart. Okay, so let's open up a multi-pane of RSIs so that we can gain a true edge for the coming sessions. Okay, and just like always, we're going to start off with the immediate short-term time frame, and that's going to be the 30-minute RSI. Okay, so the RSI on the 30-minute is still suggesting a downside continuation. Okay, we are in the bear weakness percentile, and another bearish thing is that the RSI signal, purple line, has now moved below the 14-day moving average. Okay, so that's a bit bearish, but this is likely to live out kind of fast as it is a 30-minute time frame. Okay, so definitely know that in the I'm talking about micro time frame, 5 to 15-minute chart, like scalpers time frame. We can see a little bit of an upside continuation, but that's it's very likely to find the resistance from the not 382, which is at about $2.16. Okay, so I'm talking about early in the session. Okay, there is a higher probability of hitting the 50-day simple moving average at about 233, but that's not as probable. Okay, as it is a 5-minute and 15-minute, that would require a lot of thrust for us to get up there. Okay, so it's not. I'm not saying that it's impossible. I'm just saying that it's a lesser likelihood for us to go to this area first. Okay, so we can see a potential resistance from let's see, $2.16 to the very top side of about $2.26 before a retracement, and then continuing our validation of resistance into support before a continuation up. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm looking at from the RSI thus far. Now, the 6-hour RSI is still suggesting a little bit of a downside, but if you can look very carefully, we can actually see that the downside is now starting to lose its momentum towards that downside, and you can actually see that the moving average is also starting to correct. So that's giving us the indication that the downside is probably just limited. Okay, and it's again limited is because we have massive areas of support within our current position. Okay, now the daily time frame is already something that we saw, so the 12-hour is still suggesting that limited downside as well. We have that 14-day moving average right below us that can serve as a point of support. Bi-daily, still some downside to look at. 3-day, still some downside. And okay, so the 5-day is essentially where things start to correct to the upside. Okay, so very likely the next few days for ticker symbol INM are going to be either consolidation or slightly bearish. Okay, so what I'm getting from this is because we have an aggressive upside in the immediate short terms, like 5 to 15-minute, and then in the 30-minute, we have some downside that's not so aggressive, just like the 6-hour. That's telling me me that we're potentially going to be riding a range, and that range could be between the 191 and about $2.26. So literally riding like this until we find a true validation of this newly converted resistance into support before a true continuation to the upside, thus realizing the statistical upside. Okay, so things are still looking good for INM. It seems like it's a slow moving play right now. It seems like sentiment, it still has something in mind. I'm not sure if it's the earnings, but the earnings are not going to be reported until about February 8th. So that's who knows. We just got to see. We just got to see what we're dealing with here. So we can continue updating this. Just please make sure to request for the ticker if it is something of interest to you. Okay. Please know I'm not a financial advisor. Take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I can't suggest for you to buy or sell any assets. Okay. I need you to do your own DD and everything will be just fine. All right, team. So, yeah, I think I'm just going to call the video here. If, let's see. Yeah, that's about all I have to say. I wish you well, a very good night, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios.